Morning. Morning.
Morning.
How was that test yesterday?
It was pretty easy.
And the process? What about the process?
The process of submitting it,
Just the whole thing, just getting it, taking it, submitting it, the whole thing.
it was a little bit weird because we printed it ourselves, but it wasn't that weird because we submitted it. It was like what we do with all our other assignments that we had to do, except we had to print it.
So does it work? Does the system work?
Yeah, it works.
I only had a small handful across all 100 students not take the test. So I was shocked. I thought I was going to have a major problem, and we did it. Somehow, a lot of people found out about it, but those students still are not coming on to the Zoom lessons. But they knew to take the test. They knew the penalty was there. So to me, that kind of uncovers a truth of the matter, that some people are just deciding not to participate in the Zoom sessions.
Yeah.
The warm-up activity is, can you, by memory, without looking at your notes, come up with the 6 master formulas for these? So volume and surface area for each of these types of figures. Come in. You're on camera.
Daddy, do you want to finish the rest of Lizzie's sandwich?
Ooh. Be right back. Come on, guys.
Mom.
I can't turn away that proposition.
Yay!
I want to finish the rest of Lizzie's sandwich.
Yeah.
Thank you. That was delicious. I've known for a long time that mayo makes the breakfast sandwich go to another level. Maybe the next one don't cook it as long. Or maybe that's it. But I'm gonna eat it.
Daddy, wait. Do you have a cape I could use?
A cape? Yeah, but this is like my cape. It has electronics. I don't want it to break. For what? You guys have. Don't you have? You have capes. You need to find your own cape.
But I checked all over my room and I couldn't find it.
So why would I give you mine if you lost yours? You're gonna lose mine. You need to bring it back to me when you're done.
Okay.
Turn around.
What does electronics do?
Don't worry about it. It's only for nighttime. You're gonna waste the battery. Do not turn on the electronics. Oh, it fell off. See, it's too big. Velcro. You guys saw that with the cape and everything? 11 participants. Well, maybe you guys will get the Snapple fact. Barbie's full name is Barbara Millicent Roberts. Anybody learning how to bake while we're quarantined? Don't all answer at once. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Nobody's baking while they're stuck at home? Anybody
I'm biking, if that counts.
biking? Yeah, that counts. Anybody's family members baking where they didn't bake before and now all of a sudden they're doing all this baking at home? My wife is baking bread. She'd never done that before. She had to make a whole starter with dough and yeast, flour and yeast, and let it sit. And then the yeast has to ferment or whatever that process is. You have to fold it a bunch of times in a weird way. I don't know anything about it. And then you put it in the oven and you get this amazing bread that comes out.
My mom made some bread.
Mm-hmm. Bread and butter.
Are we on the chapter review?
Yeah, chapter 11. It's almost nice to do 2 chapters like that. Go back to chapter 10, review after we've been away from it. That kind of spiraling is really going to solidify this stuff for you guys, I think. It really connects it all. And then we go right back to the end of 11 and you've seen it already. And then when we do this review, it should seem very familiar, everything to you.
So are we going to redo all of chapter 11 or are we just jumping right into where we stopped?
We finished chapter 11.
Oh, we did. That's right.
We're going to review.
Okay.
The schedule is to review today and tomorrow. And then on Monday, take the test.
Okay.
Now, I don't know how long the review is going to take. So that's the variable in this process. So if we finish early, let's say that we finish early today. We could potentially take the test tomorrow. I don't think so. What's most likely going to happen is we will do most of it today, have a little bit left tomorrow, and then go into chapter 12, and then take the test on 11 on Monday. Somebody's up on the other side of this door. You're done with the cape? Thanks for returning it. Maybe I should teach the cape on. Would that be really awkward? If I have cape with Ghostbusters in the front? No comment, huh? Come on, guys.
We're really silent today.
Honestly, I think you should wear a magician's hat and like a magician's cape because you're a mathematician.
Mathematician, yeah. You saw that movie, Little Man Tate?
No, I just used to have a second grade teacher who used to tell me I was a math magician because he was actually a magician on like the side, and
Ah,
I happened to be one of the kids who was better at math in his class.
got it. There was a movie called Little Man Tate with Jodie Foster about her son.
Test review?
What?
Is this a test review?
Yeah. And her son is intellectually off the chart. He's like in first or second grade and he's ready for college already as a first grader, second grader. So, and not just ready for college, but better at the college than the college students, top of the class in college as a second grader, But I remember he meets other kids that are like that. And one of them was the math magician. And he was able to do these amazing calculations in his head real quickly. So that reminded me of that. Little Man Tate. It's a good movie.
Wait, Mr. Rosenthal, in here. Okay, never mind. I was just testing my mic was working because before the green didn't show up, so I was like, my
Hey Joseph, can you move your mic a little bit further away from your
yeah,
face?
I was putting it away just to test it. Yeah.
Anybody been taking advantage of FaceTime for collaboration at all?
FaceTime?
No, we're.
I mean, I use Discord video chat.
Yeah, I use Discord.
Yeah, or something like that. Yeah. Are you guys doing that while the lesson's in place so you guys can collaborate on the
Maybe we
lesson?
should. But I don't have a webcam.
Because you guys can mute me or mute for Zoom, and then you guys could discuss a problem when I'm having you do a problem.
All right, let's head over to garbage bin.
I mean, I would be surprised if people weren't doing that on the test. I'm sure groups of people are doing that already.
Good morning.
Good morning.
What I did on the test, I just took the test. Yeah. I didn't like talk. I was just like dun, dun.
This next test, I want everybody to be logged on to Zoom, and I'm going to take attendance.
Yeah, for the test, did we have to derive David's formula?
No.
Only if you wanted extra credit.
Okay,
Why
so
would
if
you not want extra credit?
I didn't know if I left the Zoom after the test began because I wanted to like have no like noise in my ear pretty much. So I didn't know it was extra credit, but I think I may have tried to derive one of them. But like, so if I used them, would I get credit if I didn't derive them?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mr. Rostal,
Yeah.
I've gotten somebody said that where it said extra credit on the test that we took, it wasn't really extra credit.
Right.
So that's true?
That's true.
Okay.
Um.
Oh, 8:31. Nobody said anything. All right, here we go. I just saw 30 participants and I'm thinking, oh, we're waiting for a lot of people. They're going to come in now. I wonder why it's so difficult to get, because if you have to be at school at 8:20 normally, that means you would have been getting ready 2 hours, before you're getting ready now. It's like you have to get up, you have to get dressed in a certain way. You have to get all your stuff together. You got to get in the car. You got to get down to the school site. And you're going to be there by 8:20, and then 8:30 we start. And now it's 8:30, and you just have to get out of bed and get onto the computer, and people are still coming in late. It's just not enough self-discipline. We need a little bit more self-discipline. Not you, because anybody who's here was on time. So I'm kind of preaching to the choir. That's what that's about. Okay, so I'm going to erase all this. This is what I was hoping you guys would be. Ooh, that's weird. All of a sudden, the marker's not coming off as easy.
How long did you have that marker on the board for?
10 minutes.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say if you leave marker on the board for long enough, it won't really come off.
Well, it could be the eraser needs to be wiped down.
Okay. And then also maybe you just put like a message on school just saying like if you're not joining and not being there, then like I don't know, but like maybe make it part of a participation grade.
Yeah. Too much work. I'm already way behind on grading. I'm really trying to catch up. And I'm also trying to help with the matrix for next year. And that's not finished. It was finished, and then new things come up, and I have to go back to the drawing board. So and then my kids, I need to be there to homeschool them. They're not in school. So it's hard to keep up with everything. All right, so let's go with prisms. Oh, I already have it on the next page, so I don't need to put it on the board. Okay, so you should know these by memory, because normally you wouldn't be able to use your notes. I would really want you to try to know these and understand them, understand where these come from. So when I see volume up here is area of the base, so big B is area of the base, times that should be big H, height of the prism, so we can make an adjustment. More like that. Okay, So we need to understand what these things are. This is the area of the base, because the formula, you can see that and not know what's being given to you is that or not. You know, you might be thinking this means something else. So really got to know what those mean. Why is it the area of the base times the height? It's the area is the 2 dimensions. And to get to the 3rd dimension, you need another dimension, not added. Adding does not get you to another dimension. Remember, it's multiplying 2 things that are orthogonal, all right, at a right angle to each other. So giving us that height, right, that other dimension there is what gives us volume, okay? This is based huh?
That's because, like, for some reason my mic wasn't working in exterior apps. I was testing if it works on here.
Okay. All right, so you should understand that we're taking an area, which could be a triangle. It could be a circle, even. That would be make a cylinder, right? It could be a pentagon, hexagon. And we take that 2-dimensional area that we just did chapter 10 on, that's this, and we stretch it out to get that height, and that's where volume comes from, okay? So just think of that cross-sectional area, the bone, the area of the bone, and then you extend it out, and then you have, you know, the weight of it is going to come from that. The weight is going to be proportional to the volume. Okay, surface area. How on earth do we get this? What is all this? Well, this is pretty self-explanatory. When you're trying to cover up an object, oh yeah, having trouble. The board lost its whatever it is that made it easy to erase. Okay, so when you have an object,
Coating.
say again?
Wax coating.
Wax coating, there you go. When you have okay, so it makes sense, the 2 base areas, okay, base 1, base 2, that makes sense why the surface area, you need all the area, but you also need the lateral area. All right, well, I don't see that here. What is the lateral area made up of? Well, it's made out of the front. How do you find the area of the front? It's this side length, 1, times the height of the prism here. Side length 2 times the height of the prism. Side length 3 in the back times the height of the prism. Side length 4 times, so you get S1 times H plus S2 times H plus ... however many sides the bottom is. And then what happens is you factor out the H, right? When you factor out the H, what's left is S1 plus S2 plus ... And that's the perimeter, adding up all the sides, no matter what object the base is, adding up all the sides. What if it's a circle? How do you add up all the sides if it's a circle?
Circumference.
It's the circumference. So we know the formula for that, 2 pi r or d pi, okay? So that part is what explains the lateral area is going to be the perimeter times the height. Understanding how to get this is better than just memorizing. Okay, so that's what gives you the pH. It's the perimeter times the height. The perimeter is made up all of the individual sides, right? Each one is multiplied times the height, which never changes. The height of the prism is the same all the way around. Okay, so that's where this formula comes from.
Does P stand for like perimeter?
Perimeter of the base.
Okay.
Perimeter of the base.
You just said that.
That's okay. No. People get focused on other things. They're writing an important thing down and they miss another thing. So that happens. Okay, any questions about
I
2
just
out of your 6 master formulas? This represents a third of the formulas you should know. Now on a real test, you were supposed to know these, and if you forgot them, you forgot them. It wouldn't be an open note test. Now it's more, it's harder for me to hold you accountable to that, but I would want you to. If you're one of the ones that are trying to do this course realistically and you want to learn it, if learning is your end goal, by the way, the people who the learning is the end goal get the highest grades, by the way, not the people who are going for the grade and learning is secondary. Those people are always chasing after the grade, and they're always it's always a struggle. It's not a struggle if you're after the learning. I promise you, if you're here to learn it and take my suggestions on the best way to learn it, the grade's going to come with it easy, and it's not going to be a problem. It does take time and investment and sacrifice, but it's the sacrifice that you want. We never seem to have a problem sacrificing for things we want. Okay. Wow, I'm having trouble erasing today. It was so easy up until now. Maybe I'll stop using black. I wonder if the color has anything to do with it. Probably not. Okay, what happens if we lose a base?
I think you need like the spray for the
It turns
whiteboard.
into a pyramid or a cone.
Yeah, when you lose a base, one base is going to collapse into a point. So then all of the base vertices that extended up to other vertices of the other base are going to converge on a point. Each rectangle that makes up the lateral face becomes a triangle, and we're going to get a pyramid. So how does that change our formulas? Volume becomes a third of what it used to be. Okay? There's only one base area now. There's not two of them, there's only one. You're not finding the area of a bunch of rectangles. You're finding the area of all the triangles. The area of the triangle is now slanted in. Where it was up and down, the height of the prism was good enough. Now the height of the pyramid is not the height of the triangle. It's the slant height now. So when you find the area of each triangle, first of all, you're going to have half base times height. That explains the half. Each base is a side length. When you add up all the sides, you get the perimeter the same way. And the height of the triangle is a slant height. It's not the height of the prism anymore, or the pyramid. Okay? So that explains this formula. You can try to conceptualize that here. Okay? So these are your formulas for that. The volume is 3 pyramids fit into the prism with the same height. If the pyramid is the same height as the prism and the base area is the same base area, okay, then that pyramid, 3 of those will fit. One of the things I used to do, I had this set a long time ago of objects that the pyramid did have the same height and base area as the prism. And you could fill it with sand or with water, and you could pour in, and exactly 3 would fill it up, and you could see it. Okay, but that's what it is. It's 3 of them. All right? 3 pyramids make a prism. 3 pyramids make a prism. 3 cones make a cylinder. Same deal. 3 cones make a cylinder. So notice you don't see anything here with cylinder or anything like that, because you're using a cylinder, you're going to treat it like a prism, and the cone, you're going to treat it like a pyramid. So you don't need to memorize a whole bunch of different formulas. These are the master formulas you use. So that's why it's really important to understand what these things mean, so that you can then apply these formulas to different types of problems. Questions?
Why does the L, what is it?
It's a slant height. So let's take a look at what the rectangular prism had on it. Okay, this one had a height. Notice this is perpendicular to this dimension. These are perpendicular to one another here. Okay, and you had these different sides, right? All right, so then you had this the lateral area we were talking about was made up of this face plus this face and all around it, right? Not counting the bases, all right? And you can see these are rectangles, and each rectangle is S, like this one is S1 times this height here. This one was S2 times the height here, okay? But what happens when it becomes a pyramid? These points, you lose these points, they converge. So this front face is not going to be straight up and down anymore. Okay? Notice this triangle inside is not going straight up and down. It just slanted in. So if you're trying to find the area of that triangle, you can't use H. H is not even part of that triangle. Okay? You have a new height to consider. That new height goes from here. Maybe I'll use a different color. That new height goes from here from the top down the triangle, not down the rectangular face. It makes a right angle there. Okay, so you have this triangle there. This height here is the slant height. It's not big H. Big H goes straight up and down. This one slants in to meet that point. In order to get from up and down to that point, you must move. You can't stay straight up and down. It won't converge. This vertice converges in on that one. This vertex converges in on that one.
So
And
does it
so
shorter?
these end up then slanting inward towards that point, which changes when you're trying to find the area of the triangle. You have to use a different measurement. You have to use the slant length. Okay. Now remember, the area of one of the triangles, let's say S1, is 1/2 the base, which is S1. There's the base there, times the height of it, which is this slant height, plus the area of the other one, S2, times. Now, because these triangles are all congruent, it's all L for all of them. Now, you could say, well, the sides are also congruent, but we're going to see it this way, where you're adding up however many there are. We factor out the 1/2 and the L, and we see the S1 plus S2, just like we did before. This becomes the perimeter. And that's why that's going to work for a circle. That will be the circumference. And there you have your 1/2 PL, 1/2 PL. Okay? So that gives you the surface area, or the lateral. This is the lateral area. That's the one base area. Remember, you lost the upper base. We only have the bottom base now. Okay? So that's the explanation. Hanwen, turn off your video, please. Okay, any other questions about a one base object? So those are pyramids and cones. Two base objects are prisms and cylinders. Any questions before I move on? Oh, look at that. These colors erase easy. So for some reason, black is not erasing like the other ones. That's strange to me. I wonder if there's some other chemical in there. All right, anyway, moving on. The master formulas 5 and 6 are for the sphere. And how do we get those? Well, the surface area is the baseball example. You unravel the baseball into 4 circles. You already know the area of a circle is pi r squared, so you just have 4 of them. Okay? That's it. That's all I have to say about that. The baseball. The baseball reminds me of this one. Okay? And then the volume. How do we get that volume formula? We imagined a sphere. Actually, we imagined a polyhedron of many, many sides. Where here's the center of it. Any point that you make here going to the center, what we did is we said, take 4 points on the sphere and connect them, or 5 points, or 6 points. However many points determines what type of object the base is that you're talking about. Now, David might be able to tell us which ones are possible and which ones are not possible.
What?
Well, you've been messing with the zone tools. So are there certain bases that can't work to form the sphere?
Squares are one of them.
Octagons, I think.
To make a polyhedron is what I'm asking. Squares are one that would work. Okay, well, let's use the square. So you have pyramids. So you have it.
We can't use octagons.
Okay. Let's say that this is full of an infinite amount of these square pyramids. Okay. Well, what we said is if you found the volume of one pyramid, all you'd have to do is add them all up, right? Well, the volume of one of the pyramids is 1/3 the base area times the height, which is the radius. The height of the pyramid goes from the outside to the middle. That's the radius of it, right? Now, how do you add up? So the radius is going to be the same for all of them. The 1/3's the same, but
The base, all of the bases added up should equal the surface area.
Exactly. So when you add up all of the bases, even if there's an infinite amount, we know if you added them all, it would cover the whole thing. And so that allowed us to put in the baseball in there. And that's it. So now when you simplify that, you get this. So it's still base times height if you look at it. It's base times height. And if you understand that it's full of pyramids, that explains the 1/3. The base area is the surface area of the whole thing, explains the 4 pi r squared, which is itself explained by the baseball example. And then the height of the pyramid makes sense that that's the radius. And that's how you understand that formula and can put it together.
So is this just mostly just finding volume?
Yeah, so volume of a sphere, this is one of your longer formulas or irregular looking formulas where, okay, where do they get a 4/3 from? Okay, so there you can see where you get the 4/3 from here, which helps you remember the formula. Now, I could have just said, well, you guys have it, just use the formula. We don't need to take time to go over this. But then again, it goes back to what I was saying is it defeats the whole purpose of meeting here today. Questions about that?
Formula for the AA.
Oh, let's talk about that maybe later when it comes up. It actually won't come up. So I don't think we had time to stop and do that. Maybe when we get into, before we go to chapter 12:1, maybe we can mention that.
Okay.
Okay. All right, so here we go. So now that you have all those, it's going to probably be time to look into this. Oh, no, here's another. Similarity. Okay. So for similarity, what are these things? What is SR?
Dimension to dimension.
What does SR stand for?
Similarity ratio.
Side ratio.
That's the similarity ratio. Okay. Then the ratio of perimeters, what do you notice? Same. What's R of A?
Ratio of area.
Ratio of areas.
Areas. Square them both. So if it's a 2 to 3 relationship, then this better be 4 to 9, and this better be 8 to 27. Ratio of volumes. That's it. These are all, what I'm giving you now is important formulas you need for the test.
Mr. Rosenthal, I have a question for this. If you say A is 8 and B is 16, should you simplify it into 1/2 and then do
Yes.
all that stuff?
Yes.
What is the Snapple fact?
Well, you were not early on it, but does anybody remember what it was? Barbie's full name, Barbie the doll, is Barbara Millicent Roberts.
Wow.
All right, here we go. So these are things you should know for the test. Let's see what else. Okay. First problem, volume and surface. Your whole test is going to look like this. Find volume and surface area. Your answer key for the whole test, don't use black, just throw black down there. Your answer key for the test is going to look like this, I think. 1A volume equals 1B surface area equals. It's going to be that. And then the next problem, it's going to be volume surface area, volume surface area, volume surface area. So you're going to get one object and you're going to be told, well, find the volume and surface area. That's what your test is going to look like, just like that, all the way down. So you're basically doing both for each problem.
And nothing else, just that?
Well, you're going to see. Let's see what else. Okay, so let's do this. So it doesn't matter which one you find first. So get into a routine, though. You want to build a routine. Volume is the easiest to find for me. So volume, I write my formula, base times height. Base is what? It's the base area. The height of the prism is 10. Get your units correct. Done with volume. Questions about volume? No? Good. Now, notice I didn't say anything about length times width times height. You did not see me do it that way, did you? Okay. And that's how we learned it in elementary school. Length times width times height. You don't need that anymore. Okay, so I have surface area. It's the two bases plus, you can say lateral area, or if you already know, that. Okay, so I have 2. Base area is 15. Perimeter of base, 5, 10, 16. Height of the prism, 10. Look at this, nice and easy.
190
And get your units correct. Square inch.
cubic inches.
Wait, how'd you get 16 for the P?
Perimeter of the base. 5 plus 3 is 8.
Oh, you add them up.
Plus
Okay,
5 plus 3 is 8. 8 and 8 is 16.
I got it.
Questions? Anybody have questions?
Wait, what are the two master formulas for the what's called 2 base and 1 base?
Did you just join us?
No, I've been watching, and I just want to clarify because I have notes. I'm just not sure exactly.
Wait a minute. Okay.
So I have 1/3 area of the base times height, and then
You got the sphere?
yeah, I did.
Okay. You got the, so you're looking for pyramid.
Yeah. So I
Okay.
have that.
Pyramid
So
and
I
color.
use as to what that was.
If the object has one base, these are the formulas you use.
Okay, so for like a pyramid or a cone.
Correct.
Area of
Okay.
the base times height times 1/3.
And then the ones for prisms are the simplest. Okay. Any questions about volume or surface area for a rectangular prism?
No.
Sure. Mr. Ostock, can one also find the volume by finding the individual area of all the sides?
That would be surface area of all the faces.
I meant surface area.
Yes, you can do that. I don't recommend it. Okay. Next problem. What is this?
It's a prism.
Prism.
It's still a prism. The bases are triangles this time. It's a triangular prism. So you're going to get a rectangular prism. You're going to get a triangular prism. And guess what? The formulas from the first one are the same as for this one because it's a 2-base object. Volume is still area of the base times the height. Okay. What is the base? The base is not 35. It's not 5 times 7. That's not the base. That's why you have to be careful and understand what this means. The base is the triangles are the 2 bases. Okay? So the area of this triangle is 1/2 the base times the height. Okay, so 30. The height of the prism is what is the length that is perpendicular to the bases and attaches them. So what attaches
7.
the triangles is the 7. That's what attaches them. That's the height of the prism. Cubic inches. My hands are so cold.
What?
Surface area.
Okay, any questions? No? Okay. I was waiting for questions. No questions.
So
Okay.
assuming that, actually, I do have one question.
Uh-huh.
Assuming that you did want to find this like volume by traditionally, okay, no, it's volume. Never mind. I'm thinking of surface area. Sorry, I'm getting ahead.
Okay. All right.
Mr. Rosenthal.
Yeah.
If this test, like if this is the test review, when will the test be?
When we finish the
My-
review. The next meeting after we finish the review.
Oh, okay.
Okay, surface area. You have 2 bases you need to find the area of, plus the lateral area.
Pythagorean Theorem to find the perimeter.
Okay? So, base area. We already found that.
Oh, yeah.
30. So it's 2 times the base area, 30. Very simple to make errors, so go carefully. Perimeter of the base. Well, do you remember this is one of our right triangles that we know, Pythagorean triple. So 5, 12,
12, 13.
13. So that's where some people might, how do you get the perimeter of the triangle? 5, 12, or some people are finding the perimeter of this rectangle. Again, you're not understanding what the B and the P are. This is the area of the base. This is the perimeter of the base, and the base doesn't mean the bottom. It means that what made that object were the triangle. Stretching this triangle. What object was stretched to make this prism? That's what you're thinking about. It was the triangle that was stretched away from you, or the triangle in the back stretched towards you to get this object. So the base is this, the triangle that's standing up, not the bottom with the rectangle on the bottom, no. Okay, so the perimeter of the base is not 5 plus 7 plus 5 plus 7. Again, it's not that. It's the perimeter of the triangle. So you need the hypotenuse, all right? I probably am gonna give you a Pythagorean triple so that you're not trying to get some irrational thing, probably, but you should be ready either way, okay? So this is a 5, 12,
For this,
that's a 5, 12, 13, okay? So 12 and 13 make 25, and 5 make 30. The perimeter is 30. The height of the prism is 7, okay? So I get 60 plus 210 is 270 square inches. Done.
Yay!
Questions? So that a lot could go wrong here. All right, a lot could go wrong. You need to be careful and understand it.
for clarification, for any time the volume simplified the area of the bit.
Your voice is breaking up. I can't hear you. Can you say that again? Yes.
So just for clarification,
Thanks.
anytime you have to find the volume, it can basically, the formula simplified to finding the base of the
Give me 1 second, guys. Sorry. What was that, babe?
It was the bread.
Thank you so much. Thank you, guys. Fresh baked bread from the oven. Sorry, go ahead. Go ahead. I'll eat it off.
Formula can be simplified in any object.
Please repeat.
The formula of volume can always be simplified to the area of the base times the height.
Exactly. For a two-base object. Okay? Any other questions? The surface area.
How did you find the perimeter?
Pythagorean triple. 5, 12, 13. Add 5.
Add up all the sides.
12.
Now, what if it wasn't a right triangle?
Then we would use.
I have to give you I would have to give you enough information to solve the triangle.
Have to give us a couple angles, yeah.
Maybe one angle.
Yeah, at least one angle, and then we can do law of cosines or something.
Law of cosines is only for SAS, when I give you SAS. Okay. Moving along. Next object. You guys try to work that one out now. Go ahead. Is this a two-base object?
Yes.
Yeah. What was stretched? What object was stretched to make this?
The hexagon.
Yeah, the hexagon was stretched. So the hexagons are the base, not this bottom rectangle here is not the base. The hexagons are the bases.
Done. X formula.
David's using his formula to quickly get the area of the hexagon. Because what were you given?
2x.
You were given a side length. So x is 5, right? And what was the x formula? It was nx squared over tangent theta?
Yep.
And for a hexagon, what's the half angle theta?
30.
30. Wow, that really comes in handy. I'm so happy about that formula. David, you don't know. It's such a lovely formula. Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. So hexagon, 6 sides. X is 5. Half angle's 30. Ask away. How did I get those numbers? How did I fill these in? How did I get the formula? How did I do any of this stuff? Formula we derived. It was on your test.
I mean, overall, it makes sense. It's a hexagon, so it's 30 degrees, and it's 5 because it's 10 divided by 2. I don't really have a question on this. That's pretty straightforward.
For you, there are 43 other participants. I guess I'm one of the participants, so it would be 43 other participants that may not understand. All right, so if nobody's saying anything or typing anything, then I'll move on. So this is 25 times 6 is 150 over tan 30. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put that in here. I'm not going to get it in my calculator and round.
20.
And I'm going to multiply times the height of the prism, which is 20. Okay? And then what I can do is I can say, okay, so this is 3,000. Over tangent 30.
Tangent 30 is actually less than 3,000, so.
Okay. And this will be the
Also less than 1.
Here we go. Round to the nearest tenth. 3,000 divided by tangent of 30. I got this. 5,196.
Oh, wait, never mind. It's the height.
So I got the volume is about, and we'll round to the nearest tenth, 5196.2, and this is in cubic inches.
So in this case, you could also use the properties of the 30, 60, 90 triangle.
Oh yeah, for sure. Definitely. Any questions about this?
No.
So when would this?
I can't believe there
this
are
formula apply to like any hexagon or
any regular polygon. So you might not get a hexagon on the test. You might get an octagon or a nonagon or pentagon. Okay. So knowing this formula, but what you will probably get is a side length like that. All right. So this X formula is probably the one that you're going to need. Right. So make a note of that so you have it. The nx squared over tan theta, that's the one you're probably going to need. Okay? Any questions?
All right, thanks.
Mm-hmm.
A squared sine B sine C over 2 sine A.
You're talking about the other formula?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so no questions about the volume of this. Let's go to the surface area. Surface area, same, it hasn't changed. You have to find the area of 2 bases plus pH. Well, this might actually be easier, I don't know. So it's 2 times the base area, which we said was 150, right? Do we need to recalculate it? Well, it was 150 over tan 30. Plus, the perimeter is 10 times 6. That's easy. The height is 20. Yeah, so this one's quick. So this is 300 tan 30 plus, what is that, 1,200. No problem. So often doing the work for one makes it a shortcut for you for doing the work for the other one. So if you were to have found surface area first, then you would already have this base area done for you for volume, and then, or the other way around. Okay, so here we go. 300 divided by tangent of 30 plus 1,200. I got 1719.6.
Yes.
So the surface area is about 1719.6 square inches. Pretty neat. And what's cool about this is I'm not engaging with the picture too much. I don't even have to engage with the picture too much. I don't have to sit there and try to net that thing out. I don't have to try to think of what is the net going to look like and all of these things and how do I find the area of each piece and add them all up? No, I don't have to deal with that. All right? But I do have to understand how this is put together in order to apply it.
Mr. Rosenthal, where did you get the 6? Oh, the 60 is the perimeter. Never mind, never mind.
So the perimeter, is it just the perimeter of one of the bases or both?
Well, it's just perimeter of a base.
Okay, so not perimeter of the bases. Okay, got it.
And you have to go back to how I derived that. Where did I get the perimeter? And that would help you to understand why.
Right. Okay, that makes sense.
The area of this, take this rectangle right here that I'm tracing out with my finger. It's this side times the 20, right? Right?
Yeah.
That's base times height of this rectangle, right?
Yeah.
What about this rectangle? This side length times the same height, right? If I were to add them all up, it's side times height plus side times height plus side times height. Well, the height's the same. So if I factor out the height, what I'm left with is side plus side plus side plus side plus side plus side, which is perimeter.
And then you just multiply it by height.
Yeah, perimeter times height, right. It's not two perimeters, it's just that perimeter times. That would be like finding the area of this rectangle by doing base times height times base again, right? Or base times height times 2, actually. Okay? Which you wouldn't want to do.
I could imagine unwrapping the entire lateral section into a singular rectangle where the bottom side would be the perimeter and the height would be the width.
Yes, exactly. That's exactly right. All right. If there are no further questions, Your Honor, then we will move on. Find the volume. Okay, here we go. So what has changed now? We've now gone into one base objects. So now the formulas all change. So your test is going to go like this. The way it's going now, this is the order you're going to get it. We've now gone into the one base objects. So the formulas change up slightly, and this is why you need to just know those master formulas. All right, let's try red. Okay, volume. Volume is 1/3 of the base area times the height. Okay, that height is the height of the pyramid. It's not L. L is not the height of the pyramid. It's the height of the triangle here. So we call it the slant height because it's slanted in. Okay, it's just because you see that's perpendicular doesn't mean it's straight up and down. Okay, this dimension is perpendicular to that dimension. Okay, that's all that means. Okay, all right, so let's do this. 1/3 is a constant. The base area is, we assume for the pyramids that those are regular objects. So that's a square. So the base area is 64. The height is not given. You will draw from the top of the pyramid, the vertex of it, straight down and out to that point. And then you'll drag this up here, and there is your 10-inch right there. The distance from midway out to that point is half the 8. So this is 4. So guess what I can solve for? I can get what big H is. Okay, Pythagorean Theorem. All right, and this is not a common Pythagorean triple. So we're going to have to say H squared plus 4 squared is equal to 10 squared. H squared plus 16 is equal to 100. H squared is equal to 84. Square root of 84. Square root of 84. I don't need to simplify it because I'm going to round this to the nearest 10th. I'm going to put this in my calculator.
196.5.
Thank you. You can put answers in the chat. Not going to shout them out. Okay, square root of 84 times 64 divided by 3 195.5. And then this is volume, so this is inches cubed. Okay. Questions? Wow, time is flying. We only have 15 minutes left. I like shorter lessons like this and more of them, more frequent. I feel like we're getting so much more consistency. I don't feel like I'm in a rush. I feel like it's okay.
They're not shorter though. We're getting a lot more time.
Yeah, but I'm not going as fast. So I'm kind of extending out.
We have 46 people today.
I'm going deeper. I'm going deeper into it instead of just rushing through. So you guys get more understanding. Okay, no more
We
questions?
finished a whole chapter in a week. I think that's pretty going fast.
It's not really. I only had 5 lessons, so I basically did a lesson a day.
I propose we go slower.
No. Okay, so
I second that.
new formula. More slowly? Søren, slower or more slowly?
More slowly, I believe, would be the correct form.
I think it would be slower. I do understand that slower is a word.
Okay, here we go. Yeah, but do you say slower when E is slower? That car is slower.
Go slower doesn't sound right.
So slower because
Go slower sounds fine.
Mr. Rosenthal.
Sound right.
Lesser or faster.
Yeah.
More slowly, I think.
Yeah, go.
Mr. Rosenthal is correct because when it says that car, so that car is describing the noun. You want to describe the verb, which is to go. Thus, the correct form would be to use an adverb, which would be slowly.
Yes.
And because it's proper convention, you would say go more slowly rather than go slower.
Thank you. That's what I thought.
Big brain.
All right, we get it. I'm not as smart.
Surface area. One base area. All right, guys, moving on. Hey, stop. Moving on. So with the pyramid, surface area is going to be one base area. The lateral area is now made up of triangles. So that's why that we're going to jump to 1/2 because it's triangles.
Oh, I emptied all of them.
Half L. You have to get rid of the capital H that we used to have because that height of the triangle is not a big height anymore. It's the slant height. That rationalizes this. So let's see, we have 64 plus 1/2. The perimeter of the base is 8 times 4 is 32. The slant height is given as 10. All right, so no mumbo jumbo for surface area here. Okay, so this is 16 times 10 is 160. 24 square inches, done. Questions?
Could you turn off the mic? The iPhone turn off.
Oh yeah, mute your mic if you're having sound issues. Any questions? I'm going to move on. Okay.
Just squared, I believe.
Is that what I put? Oh, I didn't put it.
You can please like get the proper weights.
I'm sorry, speak up. I'm sorry.
I know you did this in a previous lesson. You did this in a previous lesson, but just for the review, can you please show us how to get the proper height of a pyramid?
Okay, yes. So you draw this straight down to the bottom here, right? That's the height you're trying to find.
Yeah, and then you come right.
If you come over to the right, that's halfway this distance. So that gives you 4. And then when you complete the right triangle you're making, you have the hypotenuse given as 10. Okay, so it's just h squared plus 4 squared equals 10 squared. And you can solve for h.
Okay.
Got it?
Makes a lot of sense. Okay.
Excellent.
Yeah, I got it.
Good. Moving along. Okay. We're jumping back. We're going out of order. Look at this. Why? Because we're going back to the 2-base object. We're going back to the 2-base object. So this is out of order. Hopefully it doesn't throw you off. So volume, area of the base times the height. Isn't it nice to just have a few master formulas for all this? Yes. Okay, so the area of the circle is going to be pi r squared, so it's 144 pi times 30. Okay, so let's go ahead and round to the nearest tenth. I'm going to use the pi button in my calculator. And I get this. Cubic inches, don't get that wrong, get that right. Any questions about this? See, the master formulas really just simplify this whole process. Get that video off, please. Thank you. All right. Any questions? No questions? Okie doke. Surface area. The surface area, it's of the two base object is the upper circle and lower circle are the two bases. The lateral area is still pH. Okay, so two bases is still the same. It's pi r squared. So it's a 144 pi for each one. Perimeter is the circumference. So this is d pi. Well, the diameter is 24. There's your perimeter. The height is 30. I'm going to do this problem in terms of pi first, and then at the end I'll do it. 288 pi. Let's see.
Wait, Mr. Rosenthal, in that equation, P stands for the perimeter of one base?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. 1008.
Is this test tomorrow?
Only if we finish today.
Sure.
I don't know if we are.
We won't.
22.
You said that if we did the review on Thursday, the test would be on Monday, Mr. Rosenthal.
But that was an estimate based on, I didn't think we could finish an entire review in 60 minutes.
I don't think it would be good to have it tomorrow.
Say that again?
I don't think it would be good to have it tomorrow.
Why not?
8 minutes.
Why not tomorrow?
Well, having it on Monday would give us more time to prepare and to review.
I concur.
Okay, but if you want to go by my data as a teacher over many years, tests given on Monday yield just, experimental outcomes yield less results, or lower scores. Or, over the years of collecting that type of data, that is always when it's fresh in your head the next day, you get better results. Anyway, that's what I found.
That's only with the school week, because Saturday and Sunday are the only break days, and naturally students stop reviewing. So of course you're going to get more results on those.
Whenever I've done a review on Friday, and a test on Monday, I always get results that are lower.
So are you saying that tests are based off of short-term memory?
They're not.
Oh, it's just
I
that people
wouldn't word
forget
it that
to-
way. I would say
One
there's a factor of short-term memory in tests.
If we have over the weekend to forget it and then study it again,
y'all are
it would
dense, just let
become
him teach
better
it.
ingrained in our heads.
Or we can just study.
Yeah,
on the
in
weekend.
theory, that's right. It would be better to keep it more long-term in your head. However, that's not what ends up happening. What ends up happening is you get a drop-off of students that didn't achieve that. All right, so in terms, you guys tend to make that decision based not off of wanting to learn it. You make that decision based off of strategically wanting to get the better grade. So what I'm telling you is that it doesn't end up getting you a better grade to do that. Anyway, now we're using up the time, which is clever. But the units, we don't want to leave out our units. This is inches squared. I don't think we're going to finish, folks, so don't worry about it. It's moot. The point is moot. Any questions about this?
No.
No. Okay, moving along. I'm feeling a cone coming up. Ah. Okay. Back. See, they're putting us in a pinball machine here. You guys know what a pinball machine is, right?
Yes.
You never know.
Nope.
Well, who
You never
doesn't?
know. You guys didn't grow up in the
How do you
pinball.
not know what a pinball
I know
machine
what
is?
I know
How
what
do you not know
I
what a
know
pinball machine is?
I
don't know. You know, when as I'm experiencing going through time and through my 20s and 30s, when I first started teaching at 22, students that were 11, 12, 13, and 14, they knew everything that I grew up with, the culture of the time. It was surprising when I first found out how few students knew later, 10 years later, iconic characters in society. They just weren't knowing them as well, you know. So I would ask about Arnold Schwarzenegger, and people would say, "Oh, some people know that Arnold Schwarzenegger was a movie star, but
Governor of
Right.
California.
But you know, at schools that I was working, fewer students knew that. They knew him as the governor, and that's it. So it's just been an interesting phenomenon to travel through time and see that. And so I don't know what the general population knows or not. So anyway, wasting more time. Not wasting time. It's not a waste of time. Just using.
No, you only have 4 minutes.
For the cone, volume is going to be a third of the base area times the height of the cone. All right, the base area is going to be pi r squared. Radius is 4, not 8. So this base area is 16 pi. The height is given because this is straight up and down. Remember, it's from this point perpendicular to the plane that contains the base, right? So they're not giving you the slant height, they're giving you that. So that makes this easy to put into the calculator. Here we go. 160 divided by 3 times pi. Again, I'm using the pi button in the calculator. 167.6. Cubic inches. Questions? Oh, you're leaving it in terms of pi. That's fine. I remember when I made an answer key for this, I left these ones in terms of pi, but I think this time my answer key is just going to be rounded to the nearest tenth. It's fine. Any questions before I go to surface area of a cone? No? Okay. Surface area. It's a one base object. So it's going to be the area of the circle, the one base, plus 1/2 PL. Okay. The base area, again, we already did that. It's radius squared. 4 is the radius. Squared is 16 pi. 1/2. The perimeter of the base. Well, that's d pi, and you already have d. It's 8 pi. And now we have to find the slant height. So I'm going to make a triangle again.
I actually think I have an idea.
I have now, the height is 10. I have this, what is this? This is the radius of the circle, is 4. See that? This is 10. Out there is 4. This is 4, this is 10. I need to find the slant height. Okay, so now I have 10 squared plus 4 squared is equal to L squared. So I get 106, it's the square root of 116. Okay? All right, so how am I going to do this? Let's see, 16 pi, let's try to make this a little easier. 4 pi. Okay, times root 116. Now, if you can go right to calculator now, but I'm going to factor out a 4 pi. So it's easier to do in my calculator. If I factor out a 4 pi, then what I get is 4 plus this, which I can do this in my calculator, add 4, then multiply by 4, and then multiply by pi. I think that might be cleaner for my calculator, so I don't have to do parentheses. And I do that not because I can't put things in parentheses in my calculator. if I can make a smoother, what it does is it cuts the risk of a mistype, I think. So anyway, I'm just strategizing.
Fortunately, if you use an average search engine calculator, you can type in all the commands and it'll automatically do them.
Definitely. Okay, 116 square root plus 4 times 4 times pi button. I know some of you like that. What do you mean times pi button? Mr. Brad?
It's multiplied by a piece of plastic.
Yes. Can you guys see that? Yeah. Okay, so
A couple pixels on your calculator.
2351.1 square inches. Okay.
2, 1. Happy New Year. 9:30.
All right, so we can finish this tomorrow. We can finish this tomorrow, and what we can do is go into chapter 12 for the rest of the time tomorrow, and then take the test on Monday. Any questions about that?
Or we can do practice problems and review.
Practice problems and review you can do on your own. And I'm going to stay here for office hours, but you guys are now dismissed.
Thank you, Mr. Rosenthal.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Rosenthal.
Thank you.
Mr. Rosenthal, have a
Rosenthal,
good
I have a
day.
question.
Bye. See you tomorrow.
And I have one question.
Okay.
So when I tried doing the calculations, you said 4 plus rad 116. I was confused how you got 2,351 out of that.
Well, let's see.
That's what I did. I didn't get
I'll
that.
show you my calculator inputs. So the
Okay.
first thing I do is the square root of 116.
Yeah.
10.77
Mm-hmm.
plus 4. So now I have 14.77.
Yeah.
Times by 4 is 59. Oh, yeah, you're right. Something went wrong.
something's off.
Times by pi button. 185.6.
Yeah. Actually, I think it's 4 pi instead of that times 4 and then times pi.
It's times both.
So it's still 185.6.
Yeah, I was confused.
Yeah. It's not that number. It's 180.
It's 185.6.
Yeah, it is. Yep. And
Okay, I'm good
going to
now.
be square inches. Thank you for the correction.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Rosenthal.
Okay,
Have a
After all
good day.
that
See you
talk,
tomorrow.
after all that talk of not making calculator input mistakes, I still made a calculator input mistake.
Thank you, Mr.
Okay,
Rosenthal. Have a good
bye.
day. See you tomorrow.
I'll stay here a few extra minutes if anybody has any questions. If you want me to
Thank
go
you,
back.
Mr. Rosenthal.
Yeah, absolutely.
I understood the review. I just have a quick question about the homework.
Uh-huh.
Namely about the chapter 10 homework that we didn't finish. We had homework for like chapter 10.6 and 10.7, and we just never checked that.
If we didn't check it in class, then don't worry about it. Wait, did I
Just do
assign
chapter
it?
11.
Did I assign it?
You
You
it
should.
was never on Schoology, and I don't remember you specifically assigning it.
Then don't worry about it. Then that class, then nobody will have submitted for that class, and I will just excuse that assignment.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
You too.
So where did you get the 16 pi in this problem?
All right, so this 16 pi is the base area. It's the area of the circle that's on the bottom. The area of a circle is pi r squared. So I have to find the r. So here is all the way across, the diameter. So halfway across the circle is 4. Okay, that's the radius. So 4 squared is 16 pi, pi r squared.
Okay, I think I was just confusing the formula.
Oh, no worries.
Thank you, Mr. Rosenthal.
You bet. Anybody else? And then there were 7. That's from a play. Anybody? All right, I'm going to end the meeting if nobody says anything. If you don't want to see another problem, I'm gonna exit out. Okie doke. All right, everybody, I'll see you tomorrow, same time. Goodbye.